How does a child who once struggled just to eat become one of the most famous and wealthy athletes on the planet?
Please welcome boxing's legendary and only 8-division champion of the world, introducing the one and only Manny Pacquiao!
For Manny Pacquiao, the road to greatness didn't begin in bright arenas or championship rings. It began in poverty, pain, and the kind of hardship that forces people to grow up far too early.
144 pounds, professional record.
Before the world knew his name, Manny was just a young boy trying to survive. There were days when food was uncertain, nights filled with struggle, and moments when the future looked completely out of reach. While others dreamed of comfort, he was fighting battles most people never see.
Bago mag-show na, uppercut! Dalawang uppercut by Manny Pacquiao!
But hidden inside those difficult years was something powerful. Every setback built his hunger. Every obstacle sharpened his determination. And the same boy who once had almost nothing would one day rise to inspire millions across the world. This is the incredible story of how Manny Pacquiao turned struggle into strength and pain into greatness. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss any of our future uploads.
I want to take you back to when you were growing up. You lived in really tin shanty poverty when you were younger. How would you describe what you lived in when you were growing up?
We don't have our own house, we don't have land, we don't have even food. We just, we have to work every day to make money to buy food for the family. So even we're too young to work, but we have to work.
Long before the bright lights and roaring crowds, Manny Pacquiao's life was shaped by something far more powerful: hunger. Growing up in General Santos, survival was never guaranteed. Food wasn't something you could expect every day. Some mornings started with nothing, and some nights ended the same way. While other kids worried about school or play, Manny was already learning how to endure. Life forced him to grow up fast, and comfort was never part of the picture. There were moments when he had to find ways just to get by, selling small items, doing whatever he could to earn a few pesos. Every coin mattered. Every meal was uncertain. And through it all, he carried a quiet understanding that if nothing changed, this would be his life forever. But something inside him refused to accept that fate. The struggles didn't break him, they built him. They created a mindset that would later separate him from everyone else. A mindset fueled not by dreams alone, but by necessity. Because for Manny, this wasn't about becoming great yet. It was about surviving. And soon, he would discover the one thing that could change everything.
We have Manny Pacquiao, the fast-rising young man from General Santos City, and he is wearing white.
Somewhere between survival and struggle, Manny Pacquiao found something that would change his life forever: boxing. At first, it wasn't about fame or titles. It was simply a way to earn, a way to fight for a few pesos, maybe enough for a meal. But the moment he stepped into a ring, something clicked. His speed, his timing, his raw instinct, it was different. Even without proper training, he moved like someone meant for it. He began spending more time in small, crowded gyms, surrounded by fighters chasing the same dream. The conditions were far from perfect. Worn-out equipment, limited guidance, and constant exhaustion. But Manny didn't care. Every punch he threw carried purpose. Every round pushed him closer to something bigger. Boxing quickly became more than just a way to survive. It became his escape, his opportunity, his only shot at changing everything. And for the first time, the future didn't feel completely out of reach. But staying in General Santos wouldn't be enough. So at just 14 years old, Manny made a decision that would change his life forever. He left home. With almost nothing in his pocket and no guarantee of success, he traveled to Manila, chasing a dream that, at the time, felt nearly impossible. There was no safety net waiting for him, no comfort, no certainty. Just a burning belief that his life could be more than what he left behind. But reality hit hard. Manila wasn't kind to a young boy with no money. While others saw struggle, Manny saw opportunity. Every hardship became fuel. Every setback strengthened his resolve. He wasn't just fighting opponents anymore. He was fighting his circumstances. Most people would have gone back home, but Manny didn't. Because in his mind, going back meant staying the same. And what he did next would start turning that impossible dream into reality. In Manila, Manny Pacquiao wasn't chasing glory. He was fighting to survive. Every match he took came with risk. These weren't glamorous fights with big crowds or bright lights. They were small, gritty bouts where the prize money was barely enough to get by. But for Manny, even a small payout meant food, meant survival, meant one more step forward. The conditions were brutal. Long training sessions, little rest, and constant pressure to win. Losing wasn't just a setback, it meant going hungry. Every time he stepped into the ring, there was more on the line than just victory. And yet, something started to change. Fight after fight, Manny kept winning. His speed was unmatched. His aggression caught opponents off guard. People began to notice that this wasn't just another fighter trying to make ends meet. There was something special about him. The unknown teenager was slowly building a name, not through hype, not through shortcuts, but through pure grit. And soon, that small name would start making noise far beyond those local rings, because his breakthrough moment was closer than anyone expected. It didn't happen overnight, but when Manny Pacquiao finally broke through, everything changed. After years of grinding through small fights, he stepped into bigger opportunities. The opponents were tougher, the stakes were higher, and for the first time, people outside those small gyms started paying attention. This wasn't just a kid fighting for survival anymore. This was a rising contender. Then came the moment that shifted everything. Manny captured his first major world title, shocking many who underestimated him. He wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the most polished, but he was relentless. His speed overwhelmed opponents. His combinations came from angles few could predict. And most importantly, he fought like someone who had nothing to lose. Suddenly, the unknown teenager from General Santos wasn't unknown anymore. He became a symbol of hope, especially for people who saw themselves in his story. A fighter who rose from nothing, now standing on the world stage. But that was just the beginning. Because Manny Pacquiao wasn't just aiming to be a champion, he was about to do something no one had ever done before. Most fighters dream of becoming world champions. Manny Pacquiao did that, and then kept going. Instead of staying comfortable in one division, he did something almost unthinkable. He moved up, again and again, each time facing bigger, stronger opponents who were expected to overpower him. But Manny didn't slow down. He adapted, he evolved, and he kept winning. Then came the moment that cemented his name in history. Manny Pacquiao became the only fighter to win world titles in 8 different weight divisions, something no one before him had ever accomplished. Not the legends, not the greats, just him. He defeated elite fighters, dominated champions, and proved that skill, speed, and heart could overcome size and expectations. Every fight felt like a statement. Every victory pushed him further into greatness. By this point, He wasn't just a champion, he was a global icon. The boy who once fought just to eat was now one of the most feared and respected fighters in the world. And as his victories grew, so did something else. Because the rewards waiting for him next were beyond anything he had ever imagined. For years, Manny Pacquiao fought just to survive. Now he was earning more than he could have ever imagined. As his fame exploded, so did the scale of his fights. Arenas filled up, millions tuned in, and the numbers attached to his name kept getting bigger. What once started as small payouts turned into massive fight purses that placed him among the highest-paid athletes in the world. But it didn't stop there. Endorsements began pouring in. Brands wanted to be associated with his story, his image, and his relentless rise. Business opportunities followed. Investments, properties, and ventures that turned his boxing success into long-term wealth. The same boy who once struggled to afford a single meal was now living a life most people only dream about. From nothing to more than enough. In Philippine terms, his success reached levels few could even comprehend. A journey from poverty to extraordinary wealth, built not overnight, but through years of sacrifice, discipline, and belief. But despite everything he gained, Manny never forgot where he started. And what he chose to do next would define him far beyond money or titles. For Manny Pacquiao, success was never just about what he gained. It was about what he could give. Even after reaching incredible heights, he never forgot the life he came from. He remembered the hunger, the uncertainty, the struggles that shaped him. And instead of leaving it behind, he chose to face it again, this time with the power to change it. He began helping families who were living the same life he once did. Homes were built, communities received support. People who had almost nothing were given opportunities to start again. For many, Manny wasn't just a champion in the ring. He became someone who truly understood their situation. His generosity wasn't about attention, it came from experience. He knew exactly what it felt like to have nothing, and that made every act of giving more personal. While others measured success through wealth, Manny measured it through impact. Because in his eyes, winning didn't end with titles or money. It meant lifting others up along the way. And even after everything he had accomplished, he wasn't finished writing his story. Because his journey was about to take a different path beyond boxing. After conquering the boxing world, Manny Pacquiao could have stopped. But for him, standing still was never an option. As his career evolved, he began exploring life beyond the ring. He stepped into new roles, taking on responsibilities that reached far outside of sports. Among these was his move into public service, where he chose to represent and serve his fellow Filipinos later in life. At the same time, he continued growing his presence in business, building on the success he had earned through years of hard work. From investments to various ventures, Manny made sure his journey didn't end when the fight slowed down. And through it all, one thing remained constant: his connection to the people. Whether inside the ring or outside of it, he carried the same identity, a man who rose from nothing and never forgot his roots. Because for Manny, boxing was only one chapter. His story was always meant to be bigger than that. And what he leaves behind may matter even more than everything he achieved. Manny Pacquiao's story was never just about titles, money, or fame. It was about proving that where you start does not decide where you end. From a boy who once didn't know where his next meal would come from, to a global icon recognized around the world, his journey became something much bigger than boxing. He didn't just win fights, he inspired millions. People saw themselves in his story, the struggle, the doubt, the impossible odds, and the belief that maybe, just maybe, they could rise too. He showed that greatness isn't reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It's built through sacrifice, discipline, and the refusal to give up, even when everything says you should. And that's what makes his legacy different. Long after the final bell, long after the crowds fade, Manny Pacquiao will be remembered not just as a champion, but as a symbol of hope. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future uploads.